Across Africa, time often moves differently in the halls of power. Generations rise, dream, and grow old, while a single face still watches from the highest seat. From the deserts of the north to the forests of the equator, the continent has seen presidents who ruled for decades, names carved deep into the stones of independence and memory. And then there is Cameroon, a nation of color and culture, of youth and promise, led for more than 4 decades by one man. His name is Paul Biya. When Paul Biya first became president in 1982, Ronald Reagan was in the White House. Many of today's Cameroonian youths were not even born. Since then, the world has changed beyond recognition. The Berlin Wall fell, the internet was born, empires rose and collapsed, yet Biya has remained steady and silent at the helm of Cameroon. He is now 92 years old. He has won 8 national elections, each one reaffirming his rule. For 43 years, he has shaped the destiny of a nation of more than 27 million people. To some, he is the symbol of stability. To others, he is the symbol of time standing still. Born in 1933 in a small village called Mvomeka'a, in the forests of southern Cameroon, Biya's childhood was marked by colonial rule. He studied under the French, learning administration, law, and diplomacy. When Cameroon gained independence in 1960, Biya rose quickly through government ranks, quiet, reserved, yet calculating. He became prime minister under President Amadou Ahidjo, and in 1982, when Ahidjo suddenly resigned, the calm technocrat was handed the presidency. Many thought he would be a transitional leader, a bridge between the old and the new. No one imagined he would still be president 4 decades later. Biya's rule has outlived wars, coups, and crises. He built his leadership on a balance of loyalty and control, appointing ministers who would stay by his side for life, rewarding faithfulness above youth. Over the years, elections came and went, often amid controversy. But Biya remained, each time older, quieter, and yet unshaken. In most countries, age brings retirement. In Cameroon's power circle, age seems to bring promotion. Clement Atangana, the president of the Constitutional Council, 91 years old, the man responsible for validating national elections, is almost the same age as the president himself. Claude Meka, chief of staff of the Cameroonian army, 91 years old, a soldier from another era, still guarding the state he swore to protect generations ago. Marcel Niatien Fenji, president of the Senate, 84 years old. If Biya were ever unable to serve, Niat would be next in line, meaning Cameroon's possible successor is also a man in his 80s. Laurent Esso, Minister of Justice, 83 years old. One of Biya's most trusted allies, he has served in multiple governments since the 1980s. Kavaya Yege Jibril, Speaker of the National Assembly, 85 years old. He has led the lower house of parliament since 1992, longer than many Cameroonians have been alive. Together, they form an age-old cabinet, a government whose average age exceeds that of most nations' retirement limits. Their experience is undeniable. So is their endurance. But outside the marble halls of power, a different Cameroon breathes. Over 70% of Cameroonians are under 30. They are artists, engineers, students, and dreamers, born under one flag and one president. Most have never seen a change of leadership. For them, politics feels like an inheritance they never asked for. They scroll through phones, seeing countries where presidents step down, where youth rise into power, and they wonder, will we ever get the chance? In cities like Douala and Bua, frustration grows louder. Social media becomes a mirror of discontent. Young people calling for renewal, for the right to lead the future they will live in. But the system, built over decades, rarely moves. Elections arrive like echoes of the past, predictable, unchanged, and the youth continue to wait. 1984, 1985, 1986. 1987, 1988, 1989, 1990. Each time, Paul Biya wins. Each time, he steps once more onto the podium, a symbol of longevity in a world of transience. In his 2018 campaign, he spoke of peace and stability, of a Cameroon that must avoid chaos. For supporters, that stability is a blessing. For critics, it is the reason the nation cannot move forward. Observers call him one of the world's longest-serving heads of state. His leadership has survived the Cold War, multi-party reforms, and regional conflict. Yet the price of continuity is the silence of renewal. This is Voices of the Forgotten, where Africa's buried truths rise again. Let's continue. In a country where the median age is barely 20, the gap between rulers and the ruled is nearly 70 years. That gap is more than numbers. It is a chasm of ideas, of technology, of understanding. The young talk about innovation and startups. The old talk about stability and caution. Between them lies a silence that grows wider every year. Some call it the politics of waiting. Others call it the pause of a generation.
In 2023 and 2024, small groups of youths began voicing their anger publicly, not only in the streets, but online, demanding to know when change will come and if their votes truly matter. Many fear speaking openly, yet their frustration spills out in music, art, and satire. One young entrepreneur in Yaoundé said, "We were born under Biya, we studied under Biya, we married under Biya. Will our children also grow old under Biya?" It is not merely a question of leadership, it is a question of time itself. How long can one generation hold the clock for another? Paul Biya is known for his quiet rule. He rarely speaks to the public, his presence is often felt more than seen. Rumors swirl whenever he disappears from view, and yet, each time, he returns. Calm, suited, composed. In a continent once defined by coups and revolutions, Biya represents endurance without upheaval. But endurance can also feel like eternity. On one side, the aging faces of leadership, their memories stretching back to colonial times. On the other, a population bursting with youth, music, energy, and ambition. Cameroon is two generations living in two different centuries, bound by the same flag. It is a nation at once proud and patient, tired and loyal, hopeful and skeptical. The government calls it continuity, the people call it stagnation, and somewhere in between lies the truth. Cameroon is not alone. Across Africa, stories of long-serving leaders echo in Uganda, in Equatorial Guinea, in Congo. Each nation balances the fear of instability against the hunger for change. Scholars debate whether age brings wisdom or blinds progress. Some say Africa's challenge is not just leadership, it is the culture of power itself. Despite the criticism, Paul Biya remains deeply respected by many for keeping Cameroon relatively peaceful in a turbulent region. Under his watch, the nation has avoided the full collapse that struck others. He has managed to hold together a country divided by language, religion, and geography. That, his supporters argue, is not luck, it is skill. Yet, critics counter that peace without renewal becomes paralysis, and stability without accountability becomes fear. Both sides agree on one thing: Biya's story is unlike any other. It is the story of a man who turned power into permanence and a nation that adapted around him. What happens after Biya? That question lingers in every conversation, whispered in markets, debated in classrooms, typed across social media. Few know the answer. The succession plan, if it exists, remains locked away behind palace walls. But one truth endures: time does not negotiate. Even the longest reign must one day end. And when that day comes, a new chapter for Cameroon, and perhaps for Africa, will begin. Cameroon's story is a mirror of the continent's soul. The battle between tradition and change, experience and opportunity, fear and hope. Paul Biya's 43-year rule is not just about one man's hold on power, it is about a nation's relationship with time itself. In the streets of Yaoundé, a young child walks to school, unaware that the same leader who ruled when his grandparents were children still signs the laws of his land. For him, history is not in books. It is still alive, still governing, still deciding. For over 4 decades, Cameroon has stood at the crossroads of youth and age, change and continuity. The story of Paul Biya is not merely Cameroonian, it is African, and indeed human, a reminder that time, power, and legacy are threads woven through us all. So, what do you think? Should age define leadership, or should wisdom be timeless? Should Africa's future belong to the old hands who built its foundations, or the young minds ready to rebuild them? Tell us in the comments below, should there be an age limit for leaders? Do you believe experience keeps Africa stable or holds it back? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful African history, stories that reveal where we've been and where we might be headed. Because to understand Africa's future, we must first understand its past. This is Voices of the Forgotten, and that is the truth history tried to forget.